Welcome to Golden Rule Wisdom, where we explore timeless stories that illuminate the path to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. In a small, forgotten village nestled between ancient mountains, time seemed to move slower, allowing nature to sing its quiet song. Here lived Elara, a woman whose face was mapped with wrinkles, yet her eyes sparkled with a youthful and undying light. No matter what the weather was like or what troubles arose, Elara always carried a gentle smile that warmed everyone's heart. In stark contrast there was Leo, a young man who carried the weight of the world upon his tired, slumped shoulders. He watched Elara from afar, unable to comprehend how someone living in such a simple, old hut could be so happy. His mind was a storm of worries about the future and regrets about the past, all leaving no room for present peace. Driven by a desperate need for answers, Leo decided to confront the old woman and discover the source of her joy. He stood at her humble gate, taking a deep breath to steady his nerves before stepping into her sanctuary of peace. Elara looked up, her smile never fading, and gestured for the troubled young man to join her on the wooden porch. She poured him a cup of herbal tea, the steam rising like a gentle spirit, offering silent comfort to his soul. Leo could not hold back any longer and asked why she smiled when life was so full of suffering and hardship. He listed all the problems in the village, the poverty and the uncertainty, wondering how she could possibly remain so blind. Elara listened patiently, then sighed softly, her eyes looking past him, seeing a time that had long since faded away. She began to tell him a story from her youth, a time when her world was painted in shades of grey. Many years ago, I watched my beloved husband fade away, consumed by a sickness that we had no money to cure. We sold everything we owned, but it was not enough. The silence of our empty home was louder than any scream. When he passed, I felt as though the sky had collapsed. I stood in the rain, feeling utterly alone and broken. For months I drowned in a sea of sorrow, believing that happiness was a luxury reserved only for the wealthy. But one day I realized that my tears did not bring him back, nor did they put food on my table. I understood then that sinking into the abyss of sadness would not change the reality of what had already happened. Leo remained silent, captivated by her words. He realized her happiness was not born of ignorance but of deep survival. She told him that she discovered 3 secrets. The first is that happiness is a choice we make every single morning. When I wake up, I do not let my mind drift to what is wrong. I actively look for what is right. It could be the warmth of the sun, the song of a bird, or simply the fact that I woke up. I choose to focus on these small miracles. This choice sets the tone for the rest of my entire day. Leo thought about how he usually woke up cursing the alarm, starting his day with a cloud of negativity over him. The second secret, she whispered, is a powerful mantra that has guided me through the darkest storms. This too shall pass. I learned that nothing in this life is permanent, both the moments of great joy and the moments of deep sorrow. Just as winter must eventually give way to spring, your troubles will eventually fade and give way to new beginnings. When hard times come, I remind myself they are temporary. This prevents me from being crushed by the weight of them. Leo felt a shift within him. He realized he had been holding on to his problems as if they were permanent fixtures. Finally, she said, the third secret is to focus entirely on what you have rather than what you have lost. It is easy to mourn what is gone, but it takes courage to celebrate what remains and cherish it dearly. I still have my health, I have the memory of my love, and I have this beautiful village to live in. By focusing on what I have, I fill my heart with gratitude. And where there is gratitude, there is no fear. Leo looked at his own hands. He was young, strong, and capable. He had been blind to his own vast wealth. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the porch. The conversation had changed the energy of the entire afternoon. He took a sip of the cooling tea. It tasted sweeter than before, or perhaps it was just his perception changing. Happiness, she concluded, does not depend on what happens around you, but on how you view it from within yourself. You can be a light that shines from the inside out, regardless of how dark the world around you may seem. Leo stood up. He felt lighter, as if the heavy chains he had dragged for years had suddenly dissolved into dust. She walked him to the gate and patted his shoulder. "Go now," she said, "and choose to live your life." As Leo walked back, he noticed the colours of the sunset were more vivid than he had ever seen them before. He stopped to look at a flower by the path. Instead of walking past, he smiled, acknowledging its quiet, resilient beauty. He returned home and opened his windows. He decided that from this moment on he would practice these 3 golden rules. Days turned into weeks. Leo started practicing gratitude, helping others, and reminding himself that bad moments would pass. The villagers noticed the change. The boy who once carried a storm cloud now carried the warmth of the sun. He returned to Elara not to ask questions, but to thank her. He brought her the first fruits of his harvest. They sat together again, sharing tea and laughter. The student had become a master of his own internal emotional world. The village remained the same, but for Leo everything had changed. He had unlocked the prison of his own mind. This story teaches us that happiness is not a destination we reach, but a manner of traveling through life's journey. Remember the first lesson: happiness is a choice. Do not wait for it to come to you, create it daily. Remember the second lesson: this too shall pass. Embrace the good times and endure the bad, for neither lasts forever. Remember the third lesson: focus on what you have. Gratitude turns what we have into enough and more. We all have the power to be like Elara. We all possess the inner strength to rewrite our own stories. Look in the mirror today and decide to be happy. It is the greatest gift you can give to yourself. Even in the darkest night, the stars still shine. Be the star in your own life, burning bright with hope. Elara's wisdom is not just for Leo, but for all of us who struggle to find peace in a chaotic world. Leo passed this wisdom on to others, creating a ripple effect of positivity that spread throughout the entire village valley. One candle can light 1,000 others without shortening its life. Happiness was born to be shared with everyone around you. The village became known as a place of joy, not because they were rich, but because they understood the secret. These are the golden rules of life. Simple to understand, yet they take a lifetime of practice to truly master. I challenge you to try this for 1 week. Wake up and choose joy. Remind yourself that troubles are temporary. Find 3 things to be grateful for before you sleep. You will see your life transform before your very eyes. Let love and gratitude wash over you like the tide, cleansing your spirit of the debris of anger and regret. Life is a precious gift. Do not waste it waiting for the storm to pass. Learn to dance in the rain. Even the rain has its purpose, bringing life and growth. And embrace every aspect of your existence with an open heart. Leo finally understood that he was the architect of his own happiness. He held the key in his hand all along. Happiness is a choice. Everything is temporary. Gratitude is the path. Keep these truths close to your heart always. As the sun sets on our story, let it rise on a new chapter of your life, filled with joy. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who might need a little light in their day. Subscribe to our community for more stories like this. Tell us in the comments what you are grateful for today. Thank you for spending this time with us. May your days be filled with peace, love, and endless reasons to smile. This has been a presentation of Golden Rule Wisdom. Remember that happiness is your creation, waiting to be chosen. Goodbye.